Are you ready to master your money-making magnetism to increase your impact and income? Welcome to the Human Design Business Podcast.
Welcome to the Human Design Podcast with me, Sherry Thompson. I will share with you how to amplify your business impact and income by mastering your money-making magnetism through your personal human design. I want to share a little bit with you today about human design and about my journey with all things business and human design specifically, because I know that in sharing this, there will be parts of it that you resonate with, and there will be parts of this that you're like, oh my goodness, this is what I can do, and this is how I can use human design. So really, it's to give you a little bit of an introduction to what brought me here. If this is the first time you're hearing me, if it's not the first time, some of you here may have heard this story a few times. Maybe there's different things that are going to come through, or who knows? Who knows where this is going to go? I'm a generator and I respond in the moment. So you'll get to see a lot of that. So going way back when, my whole idea of success when I was younger, I don't think I've shared this so much. The whole idea I had of success when I was younger was always kind of around a career and making quote unquote good money, but it always was packaged in this job for life experience, like a proper profession. And I remember being really young and thinking, I'd really like to be a lawyer because that's a proper profession. And then I decided I wanted to be a pediatrician because it was difficult to spell. So I really didn't have any idea about what I was going to be when I was growing up, but it was definitely, the theme was, it's a profession and it's like this job for life, and you definitely have to go through and get qualifications at school. So that's what I did. I went through school, did my A-levels, and then went into marketing and statistics for my degree. I literally had no idea what I was going to do for my degree until the deadlines, until right up to the deadlines. I had no idea what I was going to do. And I heard somebody say the other day about like your purpose and all of these things, like, you know, your purpose when you look back and you see what you loved to do between, I think she said between the age of 7 and 15. That was the first time I'd ever heard that. And I was like, that is so interesting. What did I actually love to do between the age of 7 and 15? Because I didn't have hobbies, really. I didn't have like this thing that I was so passionate about. But what I did have was a million jobs. I knew that I always wanted to be independent and that I loved creating money to bring me that level of independence. I knew that I didn't want to ask people. I didn't want to ask my parents for money. I didn't want to go without the things that I wanted to have. I always knew that money equaled independence and freedom. And with that, I could go and do anything I wanted with my friends. I could go and do, you know, whatever was happening, whether it's the cinema or going shopping. I always was able to do that without worrying about money. So when I look back on that, I was like, okay, so money's been a theme. And then I chose marketing, which was so random. I don't even know why I chose marketing, but obviously it was the most perfect fit in the world. Statistics, because I just love maths. I was talking about, so Archie started school today. He's 11. He's my, like, Archie will feature a lot in these stories. He just started secondary school today. And I gave him, like, you know, one of those compass sets and protractors and things. I said, I'm kind of jealous that you get to go and do like trigonometry and stuff. I would love to do these math things. So I love the numbers and I love business. So, you know, marketing and statistics, great fit. So as I went through my marketing journey, so I did the degree, I then went and got a job as a marketing manager. It was a new position and it was like this knowledge transfer partnership. And it meant that I also got to get my MBA and all of those things. And while I was doing this job, I was like, you know what? There's so many other opportunities in the world. I was 23 and I'd been kind of, what's the word? Not helicopter, plonked. I can't think of the right word. Plonked into a management team in a construction company that was very male dominated. Obviously it's construction, and like these 40, 50-year-old people who were managers, and they'd worked up through the ranks almost. And then all of a sudden you've got this blonde 23-year-old girl who's just like put into the management circle, and I had to learn really quickly how to hold my own and how to work in that environment. It was very, very masculine and sexist and all of those things. But I also knew in that moment that there were so many more things, because I was interacting with all of these people who were already in the business world through the MBA. And I actually started 2 businesses during that time, none of which worked out. Neither of them worked because the timing was wrong. But I knew that there was something in that, like there was an entrepreneur inside of me that was waiting to come out. I then got promoted to the sister company of the construction company, which was even more male dominated and even more sexist. So this was an engineering company in the oil and gas industry. So I got promoted and made business development manager for that company. And the level of sexism in that space was insane. We would have people come from all over the world, and I was not allowed to speak to them because I was a woman. And I'm like, this is crazy. They would literally say, stand there, look pretty. Okay. So needless to say, that was never my long-term plan, to stand somewhere and look pretty. And again, I started exploring, how am I going to start this business? Well, as fate would have it, I actually, at the time, was also being told that I would never have babies. I mean, I'd been told for years before, I was told that I would never have a baby. And I'd been manifesting this baby boy, Archie, since I was 18. When I was 18, I decided I'm having a baby boy and I'm having a company called Green Jelly Marketing. I don't know where that came from, any of it, but that was it. That was a seed planted in my head. And at the time that I was working in this engineering company, I was told I needed a hysterectomy. You're not going to have a baby, you need a hysterectomy. And I knew in my heart and soul that this baby was coming through. And I remember waking up from surgery and looking at the surgeon, who said, the endometriosis is getting worse and worse, so you need to have a hysterectomy. And I was like, I'm having a baby boy. I'm having a baby. And so after I'd recovered from the surgery, I went to the doctors and said, listen, can I have IVF? And he said, you can, but I think you're already pregnant. And I was pregnant with my little miracle, my little manifestation. Well, I say I manifested him, but he's actually a manifestor in human design, so he probably manifested me. And so I was pregnant with this beautiful boy who I'd been manifesting for 10 years at this point. And what happened after that was his dad decided that he was not going to be a part of this journey. So we moved from where we were currently living in the north of England. We moved down to the Midlands where my family was. And I then had this beautiful baby boy, and he's like brought all this joy and love to my life. And then I was like, okay, how am I going to pay for everything? How am I going to actually support us? Because there was not a lot that I was entitled to in terms of benefits or anything. And there was not a lot that I was getting in terms of maternity pay. So I was like, okay, I'm going to have to just keep working. So I literally had no maternity leave. I carried on working, and I had to leave Archie with my parents for 3 days a week while I traveled up to North Yorkshire, work for 3 days, then come back and then still be working at home. So I've got this beautiful baby boy that I've manifested, and I'm still not even able to spend that much time with him in the way that I wanted to. So when he was 4 months old, I decided this was the time. This is where the entrepreneur gets to go on a journey and gets to create this beautiful business that I've seen on the internet. Now, remember, this is 11 years ago. This is like the days of the Wild West on the internet. You know, the internet marketing there was like penny clicks and get rich quick. And there was not a lot of integrity, but I'd seen this dream. I'd seen this vision that you could create freedom, you could create money, you could work from anywhere, and everything would be fine. So that was the journey I went on. Okay, how am I going to create this business? What I realized at the time was I didn't know anything about business. I've got all these qualifications, and I've got all of these amazing accolades and case studies and like awards and stuff through the work that I was doing. But that was only because I was working in an established brand with a team of people, with a budget, with resource, with all of these things that when I was like, okay, I'm going to start my own business, I had none of that. And I was like, oh my goodness, I literally don't know anything about business. What am I going to do? So I stripped it all back to, what do I know that I can do? And what I knew I could do was marketing, and what I knew I could do to get in front of the right people and to actually start making sales was networking. That's what I'd done with all of the business development stuff that I'd done for the other companies, was get in front of people and talk. So I got out and I started talking, and I was like, you know what? Everybody needs marketing. I don't really need to think about this. Obviously, everyone's going to say yes to marketing. Not everybody said yes to marketing. So then I had to really hone the message and be like, okay, this is why you need to have it. And what happened was I signed some clients, and then they referred me and referred me and referred me. So my business actually grew through referrals, which is such a powerful tool, but then you don't always have control of it. But what happened was I didn't need that much control, because I got referred so much that all of a sudden I was able to leave the business in North Yorkshire. I was able to open an office and get like my team and all the things that are the markers of success, like the 6-figure business and the team and the clients all over the world, and going backwards and forwards to London all of the time. And before I knew it, what I'd done was replace one job where I had to travel away a lot with another job where I had to travel away a lot. I was actually being paid less. And I had even more stress, because now everything is on me to train my team, to make sure everybody's being paid, to bring in the customers, to travel up and down the country. So it was super intense. And I knew there was another way, but I couldn't get to that other place. And I was investing in all of these blueprints and all of these trainings. And, you know, the first investment I made was in an internet marketing guy who, in hindsight, really cashed in on an awful story, personal story, and was so out of integrity. He would rock up to calls and there'd be like, I mean, this is going to go out on podcasts and things, isn't it? I don't know how much I can say about this. There were not nice things involved in those calls, and it was just really awful experience. But I kept investing because I knew there was another way. I knew there's got to be another way. So I refer to that time as my stubbornly failing, because even though to the world I was successful, even though to like the outside world, everything was great, 6-figure business, team office, all the things, I was so miserable. I was so burnt out. And I didn't know how to change anything, because I couldn't even go on holiday without the wheels falling off. Like, I had to work even when we're on holiday. This was not freedom. I was working so many hours, and I still didn't have time with Archie. In fact, to the point where I was so keen to just get the business going, like, let me change it up, let me do the work I've got to do, that I would rush him to bed at night so that I could get working on the business. Because in my mind, if he's in bed, I can work on the business can change, then I've got more time with him. But I was like 6 years just gone. So I knew there was another way. I just didn't know what the way was. And I was investing and maxing out my credit cards and doing all of these things that weren't really supporting the business in any way. One day, a friend who I'd known for a long time said to me, I thought you said you were going to world school Archie. So I did say that. I got so busy being busy that I forgot that I was going to world school my son. I forgot that was my actual dream, that was my actual desire. And as soon as I was reminded, I started looking at the business and started looking at, how can I make this happen? So I started to make changes, but actually the changes were not right. So you've got these things that are happening with the changes, knowing there's another way. All these kind of chain reaction events happened. And I realized that the way that was going to change the business and allow me to world school was to tune into alignment and to create this business that not only was strategically sound, but was also energetically aligned and really lit up, so that I could be in my desires, so that I could work in a way that really served me. At the time, this is 2017, there was nothing that was really around about this. So what I would do is go and do all these energy trainings and all of these alignment certifications and all of these different things, hoping that there would be somewhere that it would join up business and energy. And that wasn't really a big thing at the time. So I had to figure it out myself. So I actually just went, you know what, we're going to go. So we ended up moving to Bali in 2018, we went to Bali, and Archie went to a Star Wars school, and it was very bizarre. It was less Star Wars, more, I don't know, free play. So that was an interesting experience. So we went to Bali, and what happened was I had to recognize that this was my opportunity to really step into alignment and to walk my talk. Integrity to me is everything. I will never talk about anything that I haven't done. I will never share with you something that I haven't personally done that hasn't worked for me. So I had to start walking my talk. So I want to talk about alignment. I have to be in alignment. So I started to clean up energetically my business. I started to remove the clients who didn't light me up. You know, those clients you get that when you get an email from them, they make you feel sick. I started to get rid of the clients who wanted me to do services and the things that didn't light me up. I'm a generator. I'm here to build. I'm here to be lit up. If it wasn't lighting me up, I'm out of alignment. And alignment is alignment across the board. If I'm out of alignment here, I'm out of alignment everywhere. So I started to lovingly release these clients. And what happened was, all of a sudden, for lots of different reasons, all my other clients also went. So I'm over the other side of the world with Archie, who was 6 at the time. And all of a sudden, my income has stopped. It was terrifying. I was crying into Archie's hair at night. I was having sleepless nights. I was ill. I just wouldn't leave that. We also had moved as well. So we'd moved to this house that was further out of the main town. It's not so easy to get around in Bali unless you want to get on a moped. And I was not going to do that with Archie on the back. So our drive, like we had a driver, but it was further out, all these things. So we just felt really isolated. Wouldn't really leave the house. It was a miserable time. But what I realized was that I had a choice. I had an opportunity to really tune into alignment and to trust, but I didn't know how to do that. Nobody had ever told me how to do that. Nobody had ever said, this is how you connect with alignment. This is how you really move into a place where you can trust alignment, because the society that we're in has us in our head and has us working with this logic. So I was like, I'm just going to do the things that excite me. I'm just going to do the things that light me up. I'm just going to say yes to the things that feel really good. That was it. That was as simple as it was. And every time I was exercising that trust muscle, because I had to go back to my head that was running wild and having a party saying, how do you know this is alignment? Who told you this? How do you know this is right? How do you know this is going to work? And the truth is I didn't. But there's an opportunity to step into feeling better about the situation, or to panic and worry and stress. So I really tuned into that alignment and stepped into this experience in my business. When I was in integrity with this, I was able to put the message out into the world that felt good. I was able to put the message out into the world that I really wanted to share. I was able to talk about my experience. I was able to share what I was doing. And then I launched a course, and I opened up, I can't remember how, I think it was 12 spaces. There's 12 spaces to come in for this course as a beta. And it was the first time that I'd launched anything in this way. It was the first time that I'd done anything in alignment. And it was the first time that I had moved from the service-based agency that I was running because I knew I could deliver it versus because it felt really great. And I started sharing what I knew about business and what I had figured out for myself at the beginning of the agency journey, which was super simple compared to anything else that I'd seen anyone else talking about at the time. So I opened up the doors for this course, opened up 12 spaces, and then sold out. I actually had more people buying than there were spaces that I'd originally opened, which was fine. Within 2 days, with a couple of posts on social media. So that was the start of the journey. So Archie and I continued traveling around to different places and going to different schools and experiencing different things. We went to Mind Valley, and he experienced Mind Valley University. We ended up living in South Spain, and all that time, the business was evolving and developing and really tuning into what is aligned business and how do you integrate alignment with your business. And it wasn't until 2019 when I was reintroduced, that's a whole nother story, which I'm not going to go into now, reintroduced to human design. And it was one of those light bulb moments where I realized that this is an absolute game changer. Because all of a sudden there is an actual blueprint, like no marketing blueprints. I'm not a queen of blueprints or anything, but this is the only blueprint you need. When you understand marketing strategy and the basics of marketing, the only blueprint you actually need is your human design, because what it gives you is a benchmark to use your energy in a way that serves you. So while I was figuring out, I always refer to it as like manually figuring out, while I was manually figuring out how to use your energy and how to be in alignment and how to trust it, human design comes in and says, this is how you feel when you're aligned. This is how you feel when you're out of alignment. This is what you're designed to share. This is where your magnetism is. And it has all of the answers that most of us are not really getting to the heart and soul of by trying on different people's tactics or strategies or what worked for me or blueprints, because we have to understand what's true for us. And as soon as I saw human design, I was like, this is incredible. This is everything, because now I figure it out for myself, of course, but more importantly, I can figure it out for other people and for my clients and support them in a way that I couldn't have before. Because while I'm telling everybody just to follow what feels exciting, that's not the benchmark of alignment for every human design type. So in 2019, I had already started to decondition from, the shoulds and all of the conditioning that society lovingly bestows upon us. I'd already started doing that without even knowing that that's what I was doing. So when I was able to come back to a place of human design, I really got to go deep really quickly with what I was doing and start that deconditioning process. This is an important piece in human design. You really want somebody who's been through the deconditioning to support you in that journey, because there's a lot in the deconditioning, right? For anybody who's been through that or been exploring it and really looks at what that is and how that works in their life and in their business, there's a lot of layers to that. So I started deconditioning and going through the journey and really allowing myself to explore, how does this work with business? How does this really work with strategy and marketing and selling? And over the last nearly 3 years, understanding human design has revolutionized my business, and it has changed how I can support my clients as well. It has been everything. So the reason why I wanted to give you that little bit of backstory is because, like I said, I'm sure that you can relate to some of those experiences and some of those moments in your life. And with human design, I'm not saying it's a miracle cure, because it gives you real clear guidance. So you've got clarity for sure. But the evolution, the expansion, that still has to be part of the process. We still have to embrace the discomfort that sometimes brings, and we still have to move through that in a way that works for us, in a way that we can be empowered. So since human design has been part of my life and part of my business, what's happened and what's changed has happened on every level. So as a parent, as a generator parenting and manifester, I understand the difference between us. And I understand how I can better support Archie, but also hold my boundaries and work in a way that creates more harmony and work in a way that also creates more ease in our relationship. Like, our whole relationship has changed. My business has fundamentally changed. There is less stress. There is less pressure. I work less than ever. So I average about 12 hours a week. Sometimes a little bit more if I'm in sacral flow, sometimes a little bit less if I'm in my 5-2, like I'm a 5-2 profile. If I'm in 2 hermit energy, then it's a little bit less. It's less if we are on summer holidays and things like that. And it means that I've created a business that is desire first. What is it that I really desire to have in my life? Time. I desire to have time and freedom and independence. I desire for my business to create impact. My business creates more impact than it ever did before, because this is heart and soul messaging that really not only resonates, but is working with my energy as well. And since then, my business creates consistently 5-figure months, with ease, 75K launches. I mean, there's loads of things, 6 figures cash in 3 months. There's lots of different things that have happened as a result that I can attribute to understanding myself and my human design beyond knowing simply marketing. Because I got all that time knowing marketing, right? I've been in business for 11 years now. So I had all of that time understanding marketing and strategy. I've got that down. But adding that piece around human design has been an absolute game changer. And this is why this podcast is here. This is why I'm here now speaking to you, so that I can share with you more and more about how you can use human design, about the power of human design. And human design as a concept, as a theory, as an understanding is still relatively new. So I'm going to break it all down for you. I'm going to share more about human design. So if you want to know more about human design and how it integrates into business to create more impact and income, then this is the place for you.